quiet, tense. It is 4 in the morning on a freezing winter night in Paris. Mathilde Loisel steps into her dark, cold apartment and drops her plain shawl. She turns to the mirror to admire herself one last time, but as she searches her reflection, she freezes. The diamond necklace she was wearing is gone. Her husband rushes into the room. They frantically check the folds of her dress, her cloak, and her pockets. The realization quickly sets in. The diamonds are nowhere to be found. A single missing item shatters the image she spent all night maintaining. In an instant, they drop from the glamour of the ball into a state of sheer panic. To understand how they got here, we have to look at Mathilde's daily life. She is a beautiful, charming young woman, but she was born into a poor family with no connections to wealth. With no dowry and no path to high society, she marries a simple clerk at the Ministry of Public Instruction. Together, they live in a cramped, worn-down apartment that makes her deeply miserable. This photograph shows the Paris Mathilde wants to be a part of. While her husband sits at their plain dinner table, perfectly content, Mathilde constantly daydreams of the grand houses, shining silver, and exquisite food found behind these walls. She has a wealthy friend from her school days named Madame Forestier, yet Mathilde refuses to visit her. Seeing the luxury of her friend's home causes her too much emotional pain afterward. Mathilde has food, shelter, and a stable marriage. Her misery stems entirely from an obsession with appearing wealthier than she actually is. One evening, her husband arrives home waving a coveted invitation to a grand ball hosted by the ministry. He expects his wife to be overjoyed. Instead, she bursts into tears and tosses the invitation aside. She tells him she cannot attend because she has no expensive dress to wear. Seeing her distress, her husband makes a major sacrifice. He hands over 400 francs, his entire personal savings, so she can buy a beautiful gown. She buys the dress, but almost immediately finds a new problem. She refuses to go to the ball without jewelry, fearing she will look poor in the middle of a wealthy crowd. Her husband suggests she ask Madame Forestier to lend her jewelry for the night. The idea works perfectly. Mathilde is instantly relieved. Securing a ticket into high society comes with a high price. It requires draining their actual bank account and relying entirely on borrowed prestige. The very next day, Mathilde goes to Madame Forestier's house, opens a jewelry box, and picks out a stunning diamond necklace. At the ball, Mathilde's vision of herself finally becomes reality. She is the most beautiful woman in the room, admired by everyone, and noticed by top government officials. For a few hours, she is completely fulfilled. But at 4 in the morning, the night ends. As they prepare to leave, her husband drapes her shoulders with her everyday wrap, a plain garment that clashes with her elegant gown. Afraid the wealthy women in their expensive furs will notice her real clothes, Mathilde flees. She and her husband run into the freezing streets, struggling to hail a carriage in darkness. Which brings us back to their cold apartment. The wrap comes off, she looks in the mirror, and realizes the necklace is gone. Pursuing a temporary, perfect image has left them exposed. The moment that necklace slips off, they are facing a catastrophic financial risk. Her husband retraces their exact steps through the winter streets, but finds nothing. To buy time, they write a letter to Madame Forestier, lying that the necklace's clasp broke and they are having it repaired. After a week of fruitless searching, they lose all hope. They visit jewelers until they find an identical diamond necklace sitting in a display case. This diagram shows the massive scale of the debt they are about to take on. The Loisels' total savings was just 400 francs. The price of this replacement necklace is 36,000 francs. They empty whatever funds they have left and borrow the rest from loan sharks at high interest rates. They take on a mountain of debt to secure the money. Mathilde takes the new jewelry box back to Madame Forestier. Her friend doesn't even open the case to check it, accepting the return without suspicion. To protect her secret, Mathilde commits herself to 10 years of extreme poverty and labor to pay off the massive debt. The Loisels immediately change how they live. They fire their servant, give up their apartment, and move into a bare attic. Mathilde is forced into grueling physical labor. For 10 years, she washes heavy linens, scrubs floors, and hauls water up the stairs, haggling over every penny at the market. Over that decade, her beauty entirely fades. She becomes a rough, hardened, and exhausted woman with red hands and heavy shoulders. Finally, after 10 years, the debt is paid in full. One Sunday, while walking in the park, Mathilde spots Madame Forestier. Her old friend still looks young and radiant. Mathilde decides to approach her. Now that the money is paid back, she confesses the entire cover-up. She explains how she lost the original jewelry and spent a decade working to replace it. Madame Forestier takes Mathilde's hands in shock. She revealed that the original necklace was made of fake diamonds. It was only imitation jewelry, worth no more than 500 francs. A decade of physical labor and destroyed youth was the price they paid to replace an illusion that was worthless from the start.